Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the highlights from Ukraine and truths about the Russia's invasion. My name is Artem and here is the news. For 367 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. Lieutenant General Mykola Oleshchuk, commander of the Air Force of Ukraine, said that since September, Ukraine has destroyed more than 650 Russian cruise missiles and 610 Iranian drones, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Oleshchuk added in an interview with Army Inform that the Air Force received anti-aircraft missile systems from Western partners. Among them, NASAM's Iris-T, Krotal, Gepard, and are currently waiting for Patriot and SAMP-T. However, he noted this help is not enough. Ukraine needs modern multi-purpose planes and anti-aircraft missile systems. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the participants of the event of the Federal President of Germany dedicated to solidarity with Ukraine and said that Russian troops currently occupy 1,877 Ukrainian cities and villages, reports Rubrika. Zelensky noted that more than 90% of Mariupol, which is occupied by Russia, has been destroyed and there are almost no houses left intact. He stressed that Ukraine is fighting for basic security, freedom, life under the law, human dignity, and happiness. We are a commercial initiative of just 2 people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. Deputy Head of Ukraine Military Intelligence Vadim Skibitsky said that the Ukrainian army will be ready to start its counteroffensive in the spring, and one of the strategic goals will be an attempt to divide the Russian forces in the south, reports Deutsche Welle. Effectively, it means that Ukraine will try to get to the Azov Sea and divide Russian grouping between Crimea and the mainland of Russia. According to Skibitsky, the specific time of the offensive depends on a number of factors, including the supply of Western weapons. He does not rule out that Ukraine will strike on armed warehouses on Russian territory, as they are used for attacks on Ukraine. The deputy head of military intelligence stressed that Ukraine will stop only when it restores the country in the borders of 1991, including Crimea. The countries of the European Union agreed to the 10th package of sanctions against Russia, reports European Pravda. They cover exports worth 11.4 billion euros and include restrictions on sensitive dual-use technologies and advanced technologies that contribute to Russia's military capabilities and technological advancements. The restrictions include electronic components used in Russian weapons systems, drones, missiles, helicopters, other vehicles, as well as bans on specific rare elements and military thermal imaging devices. In addition, 96 organizations linked to the Russian military-industrial complex were added to the sanctions list. For the first time, 7 Iranian organizations that use EU components and provide Russia with military drones used in the attacks on civilian infrastructure in Ukraine are included in the list as well. Additional export bans are also imposed on goods that can be used in support of Russian military operations. Among them are heavy trucks, electric generators, binoculars, radars, compasses, goods used in the aviation industry. 3 Russian banks have been added to the list of entities subject to the freezing of assets and the ban on providing funds and economic resources. The new package of sanctions also prohibits Russian citizens from joining the management bodies of critical infrastructure companies of EU member states. Sanctions are also imposed against 121 individuals and legal entities. Among them are persons responsible for the deportation of Ukrainian children, as well as manufacturers of weapons and persons who contribute to the evasion of sanctions. The President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, welcomed the new sanctions but stressed that they should also be imposed against the Russian nuclear industry and all those involved in the missile program. The UK government is to allocate almost 3,000 Eurovision Song Contest tickets to Ukrainians who were forced to leave their homes due to the war and now live in Britain, reports Radio Liberty. According to the Ukraine Ministry of Culture, the British government will allocate £10 million to host the Eurovision Song Contest on behalf of Ukraine and support Ukrainian culture and creativity. The money will be used to support the partnership of Liverpool City Council and the BBC with Ukrainian artists and performers to create a joint show that will celebrate music and bring people together from all over the world. The Ukrainian band Kalush Orchestra won the 2022 Eurovision Song Contest, but because of the war, this year competition will be held not in Ukraine but in the British city of Liverpool. If you like what we do and would like to tip us, you can now do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as usual, you can subscribe to our Patreon. In gratitude for your help, we will give you access to a series of exclusive episodes on wartime life in Ukraine. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.